To whom it may concern, for about half of my life I've been touting the wisdom and whimsy packed into each episode of CBS News Sunday Morning.
Inside that envelope was a typewritten letter that Melissa Harris wrote about her husband, David.
2 years ago, I met the man of my dreams.
About his past.
He was an ex-convict, imprisoned for 7 years in the Tennessee Department of Corrections.
But also about the David of today.
As I have seen him work 50 to 60 hours a week in an office, attend law school 3 nights a week, and travel throughout the state of Tennessee to teach pre-release classes to inmates who will soon re-enter our society. He deserves to know that people do pay attention when someone is doing good and not bad.
The story intrigued us so much, we came to Nashville, Tennessee to find out more about the crime, the ex-con, and the woman who loves him.
Thanks for reading, and thanks for the weekly entertainment. Sincerely, Melissa Harris.
Oh, you made me tear up. That's the first time I've seen or heard that letter.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you think about what she said?
Very emotional and moving, because that letter encapsulates not just a 10 or 12-year journey, but probably a lifetime journey.
At 39, David Harris's past is written on 1 million faces in prison. Raised by a single mother in a poor family, he turned good grades and football prowess into athletic and academic scholarships at a Tennessee state college. But he couldn't hack it. He dropped out the first semester, worked a few jobs for several years, married, had a child, divorced, then turned to alcohol and drugs, and committed 9 armed robberies within 5 weeks to feed his habit, holding up places like this subway.
Typically 2 or 3 individuals walk in the door. 1, 2, 3, or none may actually have a gun to show.
Did you ever have a gun to show?
Occasionally.
So you were on?
Sure,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Tie people up?
Sometimes.
He was arrested in 1997 and sentenced to 20 years. You walk into this place, the cell door slams. What goes through your mind? Is your life over?
Definitely. In the early stages, that is the mindset, is that door closes and it probably will never open again.
But David changed his story. He took correspondence college courses in prison, getting halfway to a degree when he was paroled and walked out of this gate in 2004. 2 days later, he found a full-time job cleaning up garbage at this restaurant, and on his days off, went to college full-time. It was a second chance, and he vowed to make good, beginning by finishing college.
Law office, could I help you?
Then law school at night for 4 years while working as a paralegal and receptionist by day for a group of lawyers.
Please don't.
Time or anything over this?
If found guilty, yeah.
I trust him explicitly, you know.
A group including Brett Gibson, a former cop, now an attorney.
It gives us a little bit of hope, you know, because so many of our cases just seem hopeless. The people seem hopeless. You know, we do everything we can to sort of get them a second chance or get them a third chance sometimes, and they blow it, you know. This is a guy who did a horrible thing. He took his second chance, and he's made the absolute best of it so far. And, you know, I know lawyers that wouldn't do as good a job as David will.
There have been some bumps on the road back. A few years ago, while working at a battered women's center, Harris dated several of its clients, a violation of policy. He was asked to resign. David took responsibility for the incident, though some say his misstep may have been the result of inadequate training.
That's the poem. Did you see that?
Today, that all seems like ancient history. 2 years ago, he met Melissa when he responded to her posting on a free blog. They got together, fell in love, but he waited 5 months before telling her about his prison past.
I wasn't annoyed at all, and I don't know if there's a protocol to follow to tell someone like that. There's definitely no Hallmark card that says, by the way, I was in prison for a long time.
Why so long?
Well,
Were you afraid that she'd walk away?
Of course, because if this person with whom I'm sitting now knew my background, would they be talking to me? Would they be looking me in the eye? Would they run away screaming? So that motivates every new your thought process in every new relationship.
But Melissa didn't walk away, and last October, they were married. Now she runs her own house cleaning business, money that helped when she decided to go back to college. Like David, she became the first in her family to get a degree with a little push.
One thing David takes away from you is an excuse every time, which is infuriating but awesome, because he says, well, why don't you get your degree? And so I, like I like to do, I said, well, we don't have any money. And he said, well, apply for a loan. Well, I don't have the time. You can make time, just go 2 days a week. And everything you tell David, he's like, no, you can do it. No, he doesn't want to hear your crap.
And that is the message, no excuses, that David has taken into virtually every Tennessee prison for the last 7 years.
I'm here to take away that excuse that the system is set up to get you and that ex-cons can't make it. I stand here before you, 7 years out of prison, but since then, bachelor's degree, law degree, nobody helped me with that stuff. Working, I'm still on parole, y'all. I'm right here as a parolee.
He shares how his then 3-year-old daughter visited him when he was in jail. He was behind thick glass. She thought he was like a snake in the glass cage at the zoo. Dangerous.
Can you see the brilliance in that connection? It's absolutely right. She couldn't get to me because I'm a dangerous criminal. I take accountability for putting her in that position at age 3. I take accountability for putting my mother in the position of bringing her to that filthy, stinking visitation room. I take accountability for the injuries I inflicted on the victims of my crime.
Victims. That is his critical lesson.
You can be in one of the classes and see for the first time if they're talking about a victim or something that for the first time the offender really realizes, oh, I really did have a victim. I really did cause pain. I really did have create havoc in the community.
Jim Cosby is Assistant Commissioner for Rehabilitation Services with the Tennessee Department of Correction. By some estimates, up to 2/3 of ex-cons nationally end up back in prison within 3 years. Tennessee's rate is only about 1/3, and Cosby hopes Harris can help make it even lower.
He's walked a mile in their shoes. He's been there. They can directly relate to him. They know that he's experienced what they've experienced. That's the value of having David come back and talk to the offenders.
David got his law degree in December, but the hurdles were not over. With a now pregnant Melissa cheering him on, David 2 weeks ago faced a hearing before the Tennessee Bar Association to decide if this ex-con was worthy, if he has changed enough to be a lawyer and thus be allowed to take the bar exam.
I love you. Too good. Okay. I love you.
He knew judgment days like this come often for a man with a prison record.
Today is the day.
The hearing was held behind closed doors as Melissa waited and waited
Just want to know.
until finally the decision.
They're going to let him take it.
Last week, David took the 2-day bar exam. He will hear if he passed sometime in the fall. And as always, he can handle success, but also face failure. What do you do?
I will be a father and a husband. I will go into a McDonald's and flip burgers if I need to put food on the table. I will dig ditches.
Someone once wrote that the darkness in life serves a purpose, to show us that there is redemption. For David, prison was the darkness. Redemption was work and ambition and, finally, love.
His is the most important story to tell, that people do work tirelessly and against great odds to make amends for their burden to society.